Welcome, everybody. He's Nick. I'm Frank. We're here to talk Virginia Derby 2025. Virginia Derby coming up Saturday, March 15th at Colonial Downs. First time there's a March meet at Colonial. First time there's a Kentucky Derby points race at Colonial. All right, let's dig into the Virginia Derby here. We got a field of 10 entered, as you alluded to earlier, a mile and an eighth, one turn though. So it's an unusual mile and an eighth, 500,000 bucks on the line, plus 50 Derby points. One of these, the two-horse John Hancock, expected to scratch. That's going to get you down to 9. I can't make the 10 winning this race. I just can't see it. So really, you're kind of handicapping for an 8 for the main 8 horses here, I think. So how do you see this race, Nick? What do you see happening here?
I think it starts with Baffert. I think he's quarter horse trainer way back in the day. Certainly knows how to run down a straight lane, and with Getaway Car, with that speed, it's if he gets out there, it's going to be, it's going to be hard to reel him back in if he's out there by himself. And it kind of looks like he could be. There'll be some challengers there, but just with the Curlin bloodline, which I love. Smart Strikes have run well on the turf here at Colonial Downs. We'll see how they do on the dirt. Irad Ortiz, it's going to be basically a lot of people are going to be looking for number 6 coming out of the starting gate and just seeing where he is. You look a little bit past that though, and there are a number of contenders. Dwayne Lucas's horse is always sort of a threat. I mentioned Authentic Gallop early on. He wins his last race. That was impressive. I mean, if you go back and look at the video, how that horse came through a group of 4 and comes up and wins that optional claiming race at Oaklawn Park. That was an impressive run. I really liked the finish of that horse. And Amos said that, he said like he had a hard time getting this horse to mature, but they took the blinkers off and things seem to he seems like he's running a whole different style. Very expensive horse at that too. So is the Lucas horse. I think Omaha, the crafty named sophomore that Michael Gorham has is an interesting horse in this race as well. A horse that could maybe come off the pace, but it's going to be, whether it was gaming or Getaway Car. I think Baffert is he's deep enough in his barn. He can send this horse out here. He's got a great rider who won 5 races on a Virginia Derby day when it was on the turf not too long ago here. So he knows Colonial Downs. So does Castellano, who's aboard Authentic Gallop. The other horse we hadn't really talked too much about is McPeak's horse, Render Judgment. These are horses that you typically may not see in a Kentucky Derby prep at a nice price this time of year, but because this is a new race, I think may not have all the participants, but I think it'll have a lot of eyes on it, especially for next year and the year after that, in terms of what this race can mean in the prep season.
Yeah, I mean, I think talking about a couple of horses that you referenced there, I think Authentic Gallop is very interesting. This is a horse you talked about a strong effort last time. He's improved his Beyer speed figure in 3 consecutive races. And interesting thing with him is you go back and you look at his maiden win. Who's second there? Caldera. Who's Caldera? Caldera comes back, graduates next time out, then runs in the Sunland Derby, gets beat a nose by Getaway Car. Who's the favorite here? So I think Authentic Gallop feels to me like a horse moving in the right direction, has shown some class along the way. I think he's a major threat. Can Getaway Car win? Of course he can. Is he the most likely winner? Maybe. Is 9-5 the right number, Nick? I don't think it is.
No, and I don't know if that'll be the number. The scratch might help maintain that number with John Hancock coming out. But it's Baffert. He's 2-time Triple Crown winning trainer. It's going to be hard to move that number up. If it does, I think the money just comes back and it corrects very quickly. The one thing about I like the breeding of authentic Gallop too. If with with the authentic on the sire side, with Victory Gallop stam, Galloping Amy never raced, but she produced a lot of winners.
Three graded stakes winners.
Yeah, so
So far.
she's a very credible mare. So I kind of like that. They've actually, there was a lot of discussion about whether they should name the Virginia Derby the Victory Gallop, because Victory Gallop was such a big horse in the early years of the race. I think it would be, kind of getting snubbed and not getting the race named after him, whether it was this one or perhaps one in the fall. I think if he gets the snub might somehow worked in that advantage. It'd be great to see a Victory Gallop here at Colonial Downs.
Yeah, no, they need to name a race for him. It's kind of insane that there isn't one. I mean, given he's a two-time stakes winner over the Strip, by far he's got to be the best dirt horse ever to run at Colonial Downs, probably by miles. Come on, man. Anyway, that's a problem for a different day. So Omaha, who you talked about, his thing is he's got no speed. He's going to be a mile behind early and try and come running at the end. And the question I have, therefore, for you is how do you see the early pace playing out here? And in particular, how do you think the dynamic of the one turn mile and an eighth is going to affect that?
Well, if I think an interesting place to watch the race will be the top of the stretch, even more than at the wire. If Getaway Car is there at the top of the stretch and he's pretty much by himself, Rapture might go with him. That's another horse we didn't really talk too much about. Is he's got an impressive win at Oaklawn at a mile and a 16th for Brad Cox and has Flavian Pratt. But I think it's sort of comes down to, does Authentic Gallop go with Getaway Car? Does Rapture do it? There's no other real speed there. If he can turn that corner and I use the corner word loosely, it's a very gradual turn. But if he can turn that corner, and runs the first half in 49 or 48, watch out. This could be sort of a historic romp. But for Omaha, he needs someone to go with Getaway Car and put them to the test. I think he just needs a lot of pace, and then maybe he can, be there at the end. That certainly is his running style. If you look back at his wins last fall at Laurel and Delaware.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I mean, American Promise could be involved early as well. He didn't show speed last time, but his prior starts he had. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, one thing we see, and we see it like with the one turn mile at Laurel, the pace is generally honest, at least. Like two turns, you'll see sometimes a horse will get out and just be able to walk the dog, which happened to Omaha and the Withers. Like they went slow. That generally doesn't happen like in the one turn mile at Laurel. And my guess is it won't happen here. Like you've said, well, if Getaway Car goes 49, I'll fall over dead if he is able to get away with a 49-second half mile in a one turn mile and an eighth race. I think he's going to have to work for the lead. He may get it and he might be good enough to control it, but I don't think it's going to just be given to him.
Yeah, 48 might look more like 49 on this track. It's going to be a little deceiving, and that's sort of with the new. Hey, I have to stand corrected here. I had some Facebook followers correct me on where the actual start of the race is. It's been a long time. We don't see a lot of mile and an eighth, mile and a 16th on the dirt at Colonial Downs. We haven't seen it much in the past. I actually had to be shown where the actual start of the race would be. So it's such a new race and sort of a new experience this time of year. even. I mean, we got great weather for the event. The rain is going to come in on Sunday. Maybe in the middle of the night, Saturday night. It just sort of depends how this. It's going to be important too to watch the racing as we film this on Thursday. Later today, see how the track goes. Friday, see how the track goes. You really have to pay attention. You only have 2 days to really gain an assessment of how this dirt track plays in March.
All right, let me put you on the spot. Who wins? Or where
Oh
Nick
boy.
Hahn's dollar's going? Let's put it that way.
I think I'm going to go with Authentic Gallop just for the value and the story, and how gracious Tom Amos was with sharing that. I like a little humility with the trainers, and he definitely showed that. I think it would be great, for him. He's got other chances, especially in the Oaks. I think he'll win. He'll win a race on Saturday. It's just a matter of which one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I like him too. It's particularly the 10-1 morning line. Right. Yeah, 10-1 morning line. The value's there. Horse moving in the right direction. And I think the Baffert horse Getaway Car is likely to be overbet. So, all right. Well, Nick Hahn, thank you for joining me, and good luck with the Virginia Derby.
Great. It'll be a wonderful experience. And lots, get your souvenirs before you leave. It'll be a landmark day, that's for sure.